What is going on, everyone? Hope you're doing absolutely amazing. In this video, I'm going to be walking you through why every diet has failed busy Asian professional men and what actually works instead. Now, why should you listen to me? Well, this is my own journey. I lost 30 pounds myself and kept it off for good. I've been in fitness for over 11 years now, so I have a lot of experience under my belt, right? But tried many things, failed miserably with pretty much everything that I ever tried. The one thing that helped me break through and actually achieve these results and obviously maintain it too was figuring out my own culturally aligned system for fat loss. And so that's kind of what started my coaching journey. And over the past 3 years, I've coached over 300 busy Asian men through the exact same process that I went through myself. And so what I've seen from that experience is that the guys who get truly fit and stay that way all share the same 5 habits. And that's what I'm going to walk you through today. Now, why has every diet failed you in the past, right? You probably are someone that works long hours. You've got a good career. You've done a lot of research online. You've watched the Instagram videos. You've watched the YouTube videos. You've tried pretty much everything that you possibly could to lose belly fat or get back in shape, right? Some of the things you probably already tried are F45 and boot camp style classes that are very like high intensity. You probably tried the macro or food tracking apps. You've probably tried intermittent fasting, cutting out rice and noodles, meal prepping every Sunday. And for some reason, none of it stuck, right? And these are the most common things that pretty much all of my clients have tried tried having seen no real changes or results. And the reason this happens is less about a discipline problem. Pretty much every guy who comes to me saying they failed something, they kind of blame themselves. They say like, oh man, I lack discipline. I don't, I thought I had it, but I just, for some reason, I don't have the motivation to do it. But the problem actually is that every plan you've tried was built for a different body and a different life than yours, right? And so you're probably someone who's working 10 plus hour days. You have client dinners or family dinners you can't skip. Maybe you usually start strong on a Monday and you're strict all week. You're good all week, but then a weekend dinner just completely throws you off, right? Or you even struggle to just stay strict during the week in general. And so you end up blaming yourself, but the plan that you're trying to fit into your life never really accounted for all the real life situations that actually come up for you. Okay. And so there's 2 main reasons those diets haven't worked for you. Reason number 1 is that they weren't built around your cultural Asian foods. They're made for a Western body eating Western food, right? And they also fall apart the moment you eat the Asian food that you're used to. Reason number 2 is that they didn't fit your real life and schedule. They assume you have all day to meal prep and you have control over every single meal. And that's just not your schedule. You have a lot of different things that are going on, right? Maybe you have to stay late for work, or you have a client dinner or a team building dinner, or you have to grab something quick for takeout because you're in back-to-back meetings all day. And so the fix you need is a system that's actually built around your food and life from the very start, right? Now, this is what happens when you have the right system in place. These are just 3 of my clients here. Carmelo, who's a busy insurance professional based out of Canada, who lost 83 pounds in 6 months. Ivan, an architectural designer out of Canada, who lost 30 pounds in 6 months. And Anthony, who's a healthcare professional working 60-hour weeks, who lost 34 pounds in 4 months. And all of them got to do that while working long hours, while still being able to enjoy like that cultural food, the rice and noodles and the takeout, the hot pot, the Korean barbecue, like all those things they love to enjoy. They still got to do that throughout the entire process, which made it a lot easier for them. Okay. Now, these are the 4 biggest mistakes I see Asian guys make that keeps them stuck, even though they feel like they're putting in the work and trying a lot of things. The first kind of category is, like I said, HIIT style high intensity boot camps, F45, CrossFit, Orange Theory, and endless cardio, right? The problem with these is that they burn calories while you're doing it, but they don't build muscle. And so you might lose weight temporarily, but nothing really changes about your body. What a lot of Asian guys fail to realize is that if you look, let's say you look skinny fat, right? You don't have a lot of muscle definition. You're kind of, you look skinny, but you just got that belly that a lot of Asian guys deal with. They have like that belly fat, right? Well, if you just try to do cardio to lose it, you'll lose weight. You'll see the scale go down, but you'll just look like a smaller version of how you already look right now. You're not going to change how your body actually functions and looks. That's the biggest missing point. because cardio will burn the calories, but it also eats away at muscle tissue. And so because you're just so over indexed on these type of like cardio methods, then that's what happens to your physique. And that's why you don't see any changes, even though you see the scale going down. Right. And so the other problem with this for most busy Asian men is that these type of training styles eat up the little time you already have. You know, you don't have hours and hours and hours to spend in the gym. And so what we implement with our clients instead that has worked tremendously well is a simple 3-day workout program where you lift weights 3 times a week for 45 to 60 minutes. Because building muscle and strength not only reshapes your body and keeps you burning calories even on your rest days, but it's also for longevity purposes. There's kind of like a happy medium there, right? Building and maintaining muscle is one of the best ways to ensure that you live a healthy, active life even into old age. So most of our clients are in their, early 30s, mid 30s, early 40s, and they're kind of trying to set themselves up for life so that they can age gracefully. That's what this is about as well. It's not just about the aesthetics, but it's also about the longevity piece. It's about the insulin sensitivity. It's about preventing type 2 diabetes, right? Building muscle is one of the most important factors of that, especially considering how prevalent type 2 diabetes is within Asian genetics. Building muscle is like literally the insurance policy against that, right? So that's what you should flip to if you want to make that happen. Number 2 is a calorie or macro tracking apps, or kind of like those self-guided apps, right? If you're not quite familiar with what macros means, it really just describes like the 3 building blocks of food: protein, carbs, and fat. Those are like the 3 building blocks, right? Most app entries don't really account for Asian food. Like they don't really have accurate data on those. So you're kind of just guessing if you're eating at an Asian restaurant or you're at a family dinner. You don't really know, right? Eating out feels impossible to track, so you kind of just give up on it, right? But what actually works and the way you can work around that is knowing 2 key numbers, which is your calories and your protein goal, right? And then you can over time, once you start tracking it, then you can learn how to eyeball your own regular meals while still staying on track. And also a side note with this too, if you want to figure out what those numbers are, you can go to a website called tdeecalculator.net or calculator.net. Essentially, that will do it'll have a formula where you can input your age, weight, height, and your average activity level across the week, and it'll give you a really, really good estimate of what your daily calories and protein should be to lose fat. Okay, so once you know that number, then the entire game becomes about, okay, how do I fit my Asian foods that I like to eat into those targets? And that's where tracking comes into play, right? But you have to customize it to your specific numbers. You can't just follow some generic tracking app that is out there. Okay. Cutting out rice and eating clean. This is a big one as well. Pretty much every Asian guy who comes to me for help literally says that they always try cutting out rice and noodles. I don't know why that's the first instinct, but I think that's just because we've been so conditioned by the fitness industry to think that carbs are bad and to think that carbs are the enemy. But listen, if you try to force down bland food and just eat chicken and broccoli, then as soon as you have a family dinner, as soon as life happens, you're going to fall off, right? If it doesn't fit your culture, it's not going to last. And so I would much rather you still be able to eat rice and noodles with moderation, but you just have to know how to portion and how to build your plate around the right foods. And the way you do that as a simple framework, think of 3 components of food, right? You need your carbs, you need your protein, and you need your veggies of some sort. So the way I tell my clients to do it, especially if they're eating out and they can't really track it, is to build a balanced plate with at least 40 to 50 grams of protein, which is about 1.5 fist sizes of protein, of lean protein, along with a fist-sized portion of veggies at every meal. Okay, so you can use hand portions to guesstimate that, but that's how the majority of your meals should look to make sure that you're getting the right balance of protein and also moderating the calories in there. Right? This is literally the difference between a plan that you can only do for 2 weeks and one that you can keep doing for the rest of your life. Okay. Now, number 4, rigid meal plans and intermittent fasting. This is the 4th biggest mistake I see. Because if you're doing something like intermittent fasting where you skip breakfast, you skip a meal for the part of the day, not only is it kind of like restrictive where you're going to get hungry before lunchtime, you're going to be more likely to snack, you're going to be more likely to overcompensate later by eating bigger meals unknowingly. And so you might feel like, oh, I'm being disciplined, I'm like saving calories, but you end up just overeating anyway to overcompensate, and then you're still over your daily calorie intake, right? It kind of cuts you off from the food and with the family and friends too. And what I've noticed with myself when I try to do intermittent fasting, and a lot of the feedback I've gotten from a lot of my clients, is that when you skip breakfast, like you get used to it. You're like, oh, I'm already used to doing that anyway. But you don't realize that you're pretty much not fueling your body properly, and you're kind of running on empty, right? You're not setting yourself up with a good amount of protein. You're not fueling your body. You're not giving your body the nutrition it needs to function at the highest level possible. Okay. So that's why I don't recommend fasting. And also the like to the point about protein earlier, intermittent fasting makes it really difficult to hit your protein goal. Because if your protein goal is 150 grams a day, which for most guys it should be at the bare minimum, if you skip an entire meal, now you have to get in 150 grams of protein in between lunch and dinner. So that means each meal has to be 75 grams. And for most guys, that's really, really hard to do, right? But if you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you can spread it out and make it a little bit easier for yourself so that, hey, like achieving the goal you actually want, which is getting leaner, losing body fat, improving your metabolic health, building muscle, like all of that gets easier when you don't force yourself into this rigid box of intermittent fasting. There's nothing special about it. I've tried it before. Like, sure, it's good for a season if you want to try it out, but I don't think it's a sustainable long-term tool. And so the other thing about rigid plans is that they break the second you have a last minute dinner or a trip or some emergency, right? You have to be able to maneuver and be flexible. Otherwise, you're just going to be at the whim of whatever's going on. And so what actually works is a flexible routine where what I tell my clients is pick anywhere from 3 to 5 meals that you like to eat that also fit your macros, and then just rotate them during the week so that you don't have to think about it. Right? So if you have breakfast, lunch, dinner 7 days a week and you have 3 to 5 meals that you are quick to make, are high protein, low calorie, and you enjoy eating, then you can rotate those. You can do those on repeats. You don't have to come up with new stuff. And then all you need to do from there is know what to get when you have to eat out or when you're at a restaurant or when you have a family dinner or a dim sum Sunday on the weekend. Right? So you have that base of consistency. But then if you need to be flexible, you know how to do that. Okay. And so the one thing that all of these 4 methodologies that don't work that well have in common is that every single one of them are not tailored to how you actually run your life. A plan that works for a busy Asian professional is built around your food, your schedule, and your culture from day one. Okay. And so hopefully you got some value from that. You can kind of see like how this can work a little bit differently. And so when you're thinking through this for yourself, really think through those 4 elements. Like, hey, do I get to eat the foods I like? Can I actually see myself eating this way for the rest of my life? Or is this just going to be another short-term stint that's going to fall apart, right? Number 2 is like, hey, does it fit my schedule? Do I have the amount of time to commit to this? How can I make sure that with the amount of time I have, I can actually do this consistently, right? And then number 3 is like, okay, well, do I know how to adjust and pivot when life actually happens? Because you're not a robot. You have a busy job, a busy career, stress, family, social events, nights out, all these things, right? So you got to know how to be able to adjust around that. Now, in terms of building out the system itself, if you're a busy industry professional, if you know the guy I described in this video sounds like you, which is pretty much the majority of the clients that we serve, then this is exactly what we help with. Right? Maybe you've tried a lot of things that haven't worked. You're frustrated. You're not seeing any changes. You're worried about where your health is headed. You've kind of seen the warning signs starting to appear in your blood work and in the way your clothes fit, and you actually want to do something about this. Feel free to DM me the word Asian on Instagram. I'll have a link in the description below. You can click over to Instagram and DM me there. And we'll just have a quick chat, super casual chat about kind of where you're at, what you're hoping to achieve, and to see if it's a fit. No pressure at all. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. But either way, hope you got tons of value from this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great day.